the introduction. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. It's a topic that I am excited about. I think there's a lot going on today, and not just everything actually happening over the last couple of weeks, but there's been a gradual but steady build towards the cloud over the last couple of years. And there's a lot of exciting enhancements being made, a lot of advancements being made in the arena of accounting software, which some folks might tend to find being funny, that there's advancements in accounting, right? It's numbers, it's crunching numbers and debits and credits and all that. But those of us that are on the front lines with this know that there are improvements that could be made, and it's exciting to see some of these things that they're doing. Linda Bowles will show you some of those exciting features and things that are happening a little bit later. But I'm going to run through a few slides here. As I always kind of jokingly say, we can't do a webinar without some slides. So I'm going to go through a few. So our agenda, as you can see here today, we're going to talk about this new Dynamics 365. And to be fair, it's not totally new, but it is a new partnership that we have where we wanted to offer something new and different and exciting to, in particular, to our existing GP customers. We'll talk about some of the new modern day technologies, the digital experience. We'll look at the roadmaps for both Dynamics GP and Dynamics 365. And then we'll talk about what the right solution might be. And I do want to emphasize here that there absolutely is an option to keep on keeping on with what you have, right? We're not doing this to push you to the cloud. We're doing this to give you options to make sure you're informed about what is out there and to try to help, if we can, determine if there is a better solution for you. We always want to feel like we're contributing to your bottom line and making your experience better, and that's what our goal is for this presentation today and beyond today as well. And then, of course, Linda Bowles, one of our senior accounting consultants, is going to give you a look at Business Central. All right, so the first thing here is just this new offering that we have. We've been Dynamics partners, Great Plains partners for a very long time. Linda and I both have probably more experience with Great Plains than Linda would want me to tell you about. And I learned a long time ago not to give those numbers away. But we do have a lot of experience with Dynamics. We are now on board with Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central and excited to bring this product to you. We are still partners with Sage for the Sage Intacct product, another product that we love very much, think highly of. And of course, as I said, we're Dynamics partners and gold partners, in fact. 75 plus years of combined experience, and again, delighted to bring this solution to you. So that's what brings us here today. Let's talk about this new digital experience. So what do we mean by digital experience? And if we could get together today, we'd have to have a big room because we'd have to stay 6 feet apart. But if we could get together today, then I would ask you at this point, how many of you have a cell phone? And I would say, how many of you have a LinkedIn account on your cell phone? How many of you have your Facebook account, your Twitter account set up on your cell phone so that you can get that instant gratification of, hey, look, they like the recipe I posted, or the post I put about how well we're doing with this new product that we've developed, how many people that we're helping. People like that. They're responding to it. I'm corresponding via Twitter and gaining some leads and some opportunities for my business this way. Got it all right there in your hand. Years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, that wasn't as prevalent as it is now, wasn't nearly as prevalent. And 5 years before that, some of this technology really just didn't exist for the most part. If you think about it, there's 2 billion with a B, active social media accounts. There's 3 billion active internet users, 2.4 billion smart devices, and 80 billion connected to IoT devices. So we're doing a little bit of a remodel on the house, and I've got light switches that are connected to the internet. I've got bulbs that are connected to the internet. I mean, think about that. A light bulb that is connected to the internet that I can pull up my phone from halfway around the world and turn on and off that light, right? So we're more connected now. We're so much more connected now. And the thing that does is that leads to a business that needs to be connected as well. And what that translates into is not having to be in an office to do the work that you need to do. If we look at our current environment today, in fact, a lot of folks are working from home. We're trying to abide by guidelines and trying to do our part to help slow this spread. So we're working from home. We're being a lot more careful. And it certainly is easier if you're in a connected digital environment, right? So a lot of need for that, especially more so in the last couple of weeks, but it's been building over the last couple of years. 86% of CEOs consider digital to be their number one priority. Probably would be a little bit higher this week. Digital services transforming customer engagement. You've got bots now on websites that can answer your questions for you. You've got website knowledge bases that might be able to answer your questions. You can do a return on Amazon practically without ever seeing a person, right? Every employee can and should be more empowered. You want to make sure your employees have the tools that they need to be able to do their job. And certainly the Internet of Things cannot be ignored. It's thermostats. We've got actually a customer of ours that's in the senior living experience industry, and they outfit senior living centers with all sorts of automation products that will tell them how many times a senior in their apartment goes to the bathroom, opens the refrigerator door, whatever it may be, to not to monitor someone, but just to say, hey, Mr. Smith is getting up and about today, or he's not. We need to go check on him, something like that, right? If we take a look here, between data and digital, of course, and this will be where Linda kind of gets into some of the Power BI, but it's great to have that digital and capture that information across it, but you've got to have the intelligence behind it as well to be able to take that information, analyze that information, and use that analysis to engage your customers, to empower your employees, to make sure that products are the right products that you need to be using, or that you've got the right supply chain line, or you've got the right professional services people on the jobs, and how can you better optimize those kinds of things, right? So a lot of capabilities behind the data that you can have with a tool like a Power BI type product. And certainly here, just really quickly, again, in today's environment with this work from home that we're all trying to do, if you have a fully digital solution like a Dynamics 365 Business Central, it's cloud-based, you access it from anywhere in the world, and you're getting the same environment, the same processes, the same automation, all of that, no matter where you are. So you're not chained to your desk anymore. So all that's great. Let's talk about the roadmap, and let's look at both roadmaps. And the thing I want you to keep in mind, and again, I am not a doomsday sayer. What I will tell you up front, plain speak here, is that Microsoft promises a 10-year support lifecycle on their products for Dynamics GP. So the release that just came out last year in 2019 will be supported for 10 years. So you've got support through 2029. I am not sitting here telling you today that you have to get off Great Plains or you're going to be stuck in a bad situation with no support. I'm not. What I'm telling you is that if you look at this Dynamics GP roadmap, first of all, this is the latest roadmap for Dynamics GP. If you'll notice, the vast majority of it is historical. It's what we have done, not what we're going to do. I love GP. I started working on GP back in 1997. So quite a bit of experience with it. Still think it's a great product, still works very well in a lot of cases. And again, not telling you to move off, but I think what you're going to see is that GP is a lot about what we have done. Dynamics 365 is a lot about what we're going to do. So 365 Business Central was officially released in the spring of 2018. It had the name Dynamics 365 has actually been around longer than that, but what Microsoft did was they renamed the Dynamics CRM product as the first component of Dynamics 365. So it became Dynamics 365 Sales and Dynamics 365 Marketing and things like that. And the Business Central product came along a little bit later. And then in the fall of 2018, they added an on-premise version. So Dynamics 365 can be cloud and it can be on-premise. Truthfully speaking, if you pull back the marketing facade there, Dynamics 365 on-premise is Dynamics Nav, the Navision product. Same thing. And Dynamics 365 Business Central is very much based on the Navision product as well. So 2019, we saw a lot of proficiency improvements in the software. You know, it's like any tool. There's a lot of improvements that can be made to the software early on. And what we're starting to see in 2020 is a lot of actual feature enhancements, a lot of code enhancements, a lot of usability enhancements, and a lot, and I mean a lot, of interface with other applications, specialty products, things like that. Just like GP has a very big ISV space, the ISV space for Dynamics 365 is becoming enormous as well. Okay. So here's the really important question, right? What does that mean for you? So it's quite simple. At this point right now, you, as a Dynamics GP end user, have three choices. One, you can migrate to Dynamics 365 Business Central, fully cloud-based platform, move off GP, migrate to that, and be a Dynamic Business Central end user. There is this past February, they released a very much improved migration tool for Dynamics GP users that can literally take your data, and I will say with some caveats, but is a very, very good tool at taking your data and migrating it to Business Central, so that you're not going through a complete overhaul of all of your processes. Now, you've got the option to do that if you want to do that, but there is a migration tool now from Microsoft that will convert your GP data to Business Central. I'm not telling you it's 100% conversion and it'll look like you've been on Business Central all the time, but we're happy to discuss exactly what it can do. You've got a cloud sync capability, which is actually a very cool technology where you can continue to work in GP, and that actually should be GP 2015. We couldn't quite change the slide, but GP 2015 and above, and sync some of your data to the cloud. And thirdly, you have the option to stay where you are. You can keep on keeping on. You like Great Plains. You want to stay on Great Plains. You can stay on Great Plains. 10 years of support. Okay. If you go to the cloud, you can look for improved productivity through seamless integrations with Office, Outlook, and Power BI. You've got a tremendous capability in Business Central to create workflows. There's a tool, Power BI Apps, that I know Linda loves to death, that you can really extend your Business Central application and make it talk to and work with other applications in your organization. And you can seamlessly share information with the CRM platform if you're using that for sales and marketing. You can connect with Azure with this for backup and recovery, for, again, collaboration, for working with other products that might be out there. And here, this one in the middle, no more future software upgrades, no downtimes. It's all handled by Microsoft. It's all done by Microsoft. You don't have to be down for your upgrades anymore. Upgrades or improvements to the system are made over a weekend. And they give you those updates twice a year, right? So the Cloud Sync option is one in which you can, if you're on 2015 and above, really what it does is it's got the capability to sync some of your data up to a Business Central cloud type environment. That then gives you an ability to use some of the Power Apps like I just mentioned for connectivity. It gives you the ability to use the Power BI a lot more easily. You've got some KPIs that you've got availability to. It gives you the ability to be on premise with your data, but in the cloud with your analysis and workflows. So it's kind of a best of both worlds option, and a lot of people are choosing this from a GP standpoint if they want to put their, dip their toe in the water, so to speak, right? However, you do have to manage your own upgrades. You do have to set schedules or recurring data synchronizations, and not all data can be replicated. So it's not a full move to the cloud, but it is that toe dipping into the water with it. And you absolutely can stay where you are, right? So maintain your enhancement plan each year. You'll still get access to upgrades and updates. You'll still have access to customer source. You'll still keep your protected list price, availability to tech support, stuff like that. Everything can continue just like it's continuing now. So again, I am not telling you that you have to move. However, if you want to move and you're intrigued by Linda's presentation today, through June 30th, 2021, so we're giving you a little bit of time, Microsoft is offering a 40% discount for current Dynamics GP users who are current on their maintenance plan. So 40% discount. A vast majority of our company users will be essential level users. Premium includes things like manufacturing and some of the higher level service management applications, things like that. Most of our clients, if not all, will be in the essential range. So if you wanted to move to Business Central, it would be $42 a month per user. It is a monthly subscription, so you can go up and down throughout the year. If you need to hire some college interns over the summer and you need 3 more licenses, it would be $42 a month for those folks for the period of time that they're actually active users in the system. So it's not an annual commitment or anything like that. The pricing on this is incredible. We have other products that we work with. I know other products that are out there in the market. I know what their price ranges are. The price on this at $70 a user is incredible. At $42 per user per month is, if I may say, a little bit insane, right? But they are trying to encourage customers that are running on Dynamics GP to make that move. Okay. So here on this other, if you want to do sort of that cloud sync and get the full availability of your data out in the cloud, then you're looking at a 20% or $20 per month price there, with some discounts available as well on that too. So with this one, you do have to continue paying your enhancement plan in order to qualify for this, so you can't let that maintenance drop. With this, it would replace Great Plains because you would be switching to Dynamics 365 Business Central. So one of the things, for example, that I would do if you're looking at 10 users within your environment you're looking at $420 a month, right around $5,000 a year for a subscription to Dynamics 365 Business Central. And that's an ongoing price. That 40% is an ongoing discount with it, but it does apply to the initial purchase only. So if you add 3 more users later, they would be at the $70, but it's a great time to make that move to Business Central. Okay? And certainly if you have pricing questions, we're more than happy to do a one-on-one with you to talk about what your actual cost and price might be. Okay? So at this point now, I am going to be quiet, and we're going to jump over to Linda Bowles, again, one of our longtime Dynamics consultants who is excited as she can be about Business Central. Linda?
Hey, thank you, Philip. And I, too, want to thank all of you for joining us today as we kind of introduce you, just a brief introduction to what Business Central might look like. I've been spending some time getting up to speed on Business Central, and I can tell you that the functionality in terms of modules between the two systems are very comparable. So I'm going to spend a short of amount of time as I can on a couple of slides where I'm going to try and identify some areas that I found to be more notably different, but it may seem like I'm rushing through those, but I really want to get to the point where I can demonstrate
Linda,
the
we
application.
can't see your screen yet.
Oh, you can? I'm sorry, I missed the.
No, you're good.
So my screen is hiding your little passing of the.
Oh, okay.
How's that?
Yep, there you
Can
go.
see it?
Perfect.
Okay, good. Sorry about that, everyone. So anyway, I'm going to get through these slides as fast as I can so that I can spend the rest of our time giving you a peek into the application itself. And, you know, primarily what I want to do is show you 2 key things. One is how Business Central can give you great insight into your business and lead you to understand the actions that you need to take and identify areas where you need to take action. And then the other one is the integration between Business Central, Office 365, and Power BI. And then in addition to that, I won't be showing those things today, but as Philip mentioned earlier, the Power Apps, the Power Platform. So with that said, I am going to bring up Business Central. I can get out of this slideshow. Oops, I jumped the gun. I have to show you these slides I said I was going to show you. Hold on. Okay, so let me just swap this around a bit. Here we go. All right, so first thing I want to talk about is chart of accounts and dimensions. So as users of Dynamics GP, you all know that your chart of accounts can include multiple segments, and most of the folks on the line that I work with directly do have multiple segments. And that can sometimes result in quite a large chart of accounts. And Business Central is different in that it uses dimensions. So your chart of accounts will basically consist of just your natural account, and then there are some additional like header and totaling type accounts in your chart of accounts. But anything else that you might have had in a segment of your chart of accounts would be treated as a dimension in Business Central. So examples of dimensions might be departments, projects, regions, sales campaign, things like that. And in addition to setting up dimensions, you're going to want to assign values to them. So if we took a region as a dimension example, we might have dimension values of West Coast, Northeast, Southeast, Midwest, and so on. And then once you have that all set up, you're going to assign those dimension values to master records. And most master records can have dimensions assigned to them. And that will assist in getting those dimensions to default during transaction entry. But the end result is dimensions offer more extensive analysis and report functionality, while at the same time keeping your chart of accounts a manageable size. All right, the next 3 slides I'm going to bust through or talk about reporting and the differences between Microsoft Dynamics GP and Business Central. So the first slide here is just talking about those out of the box reports that you print out of the application. So Dynamics GP uses Report Writer, which is a tool that's specific to just GP. So there's not a wide range of people that are walking around with report writer skills. And most of you probably have ever had to have a report modified, have had to have one of your consultants help you with it. The other thing about Dynamics GP reports that are within the application, it's very difficult to send them to anything other than the printer, right? The format just doesn't lend itself to that. So in Business Central, all the reports are built in either Microsoft Word or SQL reporting services, or sometimes both, which are tools that are definitely more widely known by more than just consultants. The other thing is that any report you print in Business Central can be sent to Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, PDF, and it doesn't matter which one of them you send them to, they come out formatted right, which is kind of huge if you've been a long time GP user. All right, next up is, advanced one here, financial reporting. So users of GP typically use Management Reporter. One downside there is that a couple of years ago, Microsoft announced that they would not be doing any future enhancements on the application. So it is what it is. And if you've been a GP user long enough to have been on FRX and then moved to Management Reporter, you know, while Management Reporter had some nice new features, there are also features that were left behind and we're not going to see them back. We also have users who use other third-party solutions like BI360 and Jet Reports when Management Reporter doesn't meet their needs. Those third-party options are available for Business Central. But within Business Central, there are some simple financial reports that are ready to go right out of the box in both Excel and SSRS formats. And then if you use the account schedules feature in Business Central, you can create more advanced financial reports. And it's similar in concept to Management Reporter in that it uses the row and column layout kind of model. Okay, so my last slide is about integrations. And I'm not going to spend any time on this. You'll get this in the slide deck, but it just talks a little bit about the options. What I don't have on here is, recognizing that there are several of you on this call who use tools to integrate between GP and other applications like ConnectWise or some other applications. And we've got you using things like maybe eConnect or Scribe. I do know eConnect is an option for Business Central, and then there's other options as well. Okay, so that leads me to getting ready here now to jump into the demo. So I am logged into Business Central as a user with the business manager role. So let me just pop that up. I'm going to go ahead and refresh the page since it's been idle for a little while. So when you log into Business Central, your account for Business Central is actually set up in Office 365. That's how tightly integrated the applications are. And so I'm logged in with my Office 365 credentials, and I'm logged in with a role called Business Manager. And what the role does, it's not security related, what it does is it determines what you see on your home page, and that's what we're looking at here. It's the page you log into. So Dynamics GP has a home page, but they also have all the other pages that you flip around between during your activities, the purchasing, the sales, the inventory, the financial pages. So Business Central is different in that it only has one launching page or home page, and so the role is going to you're going to pick a role that gets a person closest to having what they need to do during their day on their home page. And you can bookmark pages and tag them onto the home page as well. So you can certainly customize them and you can create your own roles. So I want to talk a little bit about this page. At the top, we've got what would be kind of familiar to you in GP is like your series or your modules. And you can just click the drop down and you have a list of things that you can navigate to right from the home page. Won't be everything. So if certain things aren't available on the drop down list, all you have to do is click on the search bar or use a keyboard. There's a ton of keyboard shortcuts. Alt-Q in this case would open the search bar. And then you just type in a little text search and it'll provide you a page full of things, reports and help and that kind of thing. It really is quite easy to use. Then we have headlines. For some reason, I've been stuck on this headline, but generally it rolls through informational things about the transactions in your business, like the highest invoice you had last month was X, or you had 12 more sales this month than you did the same month last year, that kind of thing. And you can always drill down on any of those. To the right, we have the actions section. So the little plus sign indicates that's a page I can open and start entering a transaction, and a couple of extra menus that don't kind of fit under these at the top. So moving down the page, we've got activities. So this is a series of cues, and they're either in dollars or we've got numerical cues that give us some insight into what's going on, a big picture of ongoing sales, ongoing purchases, what's our accounts payable situation. We've even got a shortcut to a dozen and a half product videos, which are helpful if you're a new user. It's sort of a little how-to, little snippets. The really powerful thing about the cues is that you can actually set them up so that they really draw your attention to the areas that need your attention. So I'm going to give you a little example of that. So we have over here on this queue that we have 4 outstanding or open sales orders. So I'm going to take my queue, and right now it's set up with a lower threshold of 5 and an upper threshold of 10, and we're really not doing anything to give us a visual cue other than to give us the quantity. So by changing the queue on the lower range to unfavorable, what's going to happen is it's going to, I picked favorable, unfavorable. It's going to give us a visual cue, a negative visual cue when we're under 5. It's saying, hey, I need to look into this. Why is our order quantity so low? And our upper threshold, I'm going to change that as well from 10 to 30. And I'm going to make that unfavorable with the thought that, hey, anytime I have over 30 orders in process and that number is too high, we've got some sort of a bottleneck. Are our suppliers not meeting their obligations, or do we have some other issue happening in our warehouse? So once I close this, we're basically going to say anything between 5 and 30, that's good. We're comfortable with that. Anything outside of that range, needs my attention. So as soon as I close that, you can see immediately that the sales order queue is bright red. So you can imagine if you were to go through all of these queues and set them up for, thresholds that fit your business, you could log in and know immediately where you need to put your attention. And each of these things can be drilled down into. So I'll show you here, I've got 13 outstanding accounts payable invoices. And that opens a list, lots of list pages in Business Central. So think of them as sort of like the Smart List view, but with so much more power because you can take action. You can do more than just export them to Excel. So let me expand this a little. All right, so I can see if I scroll over a little further what the due date is. Today's the 26th, so I have a few days before everything's due. So I might be ready to take action and get the checks cut. But I don't like having to scroll over here to see this due date. So I'm gonna personalize the window. So if I just go to my settings and choose personalize, this is a per user, per page activity. I can make changes to the orders of the columns on the page so that I don't have necessarily, I can see what I want to see right away without having to scroll. So I'm going to drag that all the way over so it's next to the posting date. Maybe. Did I get it? I did not. I split. Okay, hold on. There we go. Let me just grab that one more time. I've done this like 50 times this week, and today it's not going so well. Hold on. There we go. All right. So I can quickly personalize the page so that it works better for me. Once I'm done with that, all I do is just click done, and that change will stay as long as I want to leave it. I can remove personalizations just as easily by going back and saying that I want to clear them off. So if you decide that it's not working for you. Another quick thing I want to show you is I mentioned, and I will continue to mention multiple times, the tight integration with Office 365. So pretty much any page we can export to Excel or download to Excel. There's a couple options you can see here. The open in Excel, think of that like Smart List, where you just export it to Excel and the list is static. If there are changes within GP, the Smart List that you downloaded is out of date. Same if you use the open in Excel. If you choose edit in Excel, you can download it to Excel, and it's like a refreshable Excel report if you've used those with GP. It has a connection back to Business Central. And once you download that report, you can just open it wherever you saved it to and click refresh, and it's ready to go all the time. If it's a list that you want to run regularly, I would recommend that. All right, going back to the home page, I'm going to scroll down a little bit further. And here's where you start getting some insights into your business in a graphical form. So out of the box, Business Central provides graphics and charts, data visualization, and the ones that are available on your page are tied back to your role. Just to give you an idea, if I choose select chart, I can see that I have a little over half a dozen that by default are assigned to my role. So I'm just going to switch this over to aged accounts receivables, and I can see my aging by week, which might give me some good insight to cash flow that I could expect. I can change that to a different date range. If you hover over the graphics, you get the actual dollar amount, you can see that. So this is just a different type of insight provided by Business Central from the role page. Over to the right, we have Power BI embedded. Now, Power BI is available for you to connect, but it's not set up until you do a couple of steps, because you have to actually do that from Power BI, is to point Power BI to your Business Central data. And then you can bring the reports in from Power BI. So the report I have displayed here is actually from one of the content packs. There's two of them out on the Microsoft Store that are free that you can download that are, there's a financial one and a sales one. And that report is here. And then of course you can certainly create your own reports. The thing that's powerful about Power BI is that you can connect to many, many data sources. So Philip mentioned earlier, how many billions of people have social media accounts. If you want to do some analysis on your Facebook hits and all of that, Power BI can connect to Facebook. Power BI can connect to Twitter. Power BI can connect to your ConnectWise data or your other systems. And we can combine that with your data in Business Central, or even with, if you are interested in doing something like that with Dynamics GP. So that's what we're going to be showing you in, next month towards the end, is we're going to have a Power BI webinar, and would love to have you come if that looks like it's going to fit into your schedules. Let me show you one more thing within the app, and then I'm going to move to outside of the demo or outside of the app and actually show you the integration between Outlook and Business Central. So let's take a look at the customer list. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, their list pages are everywhere in Business Central. And this is a different experience than in GP, where you typically, if you want to do something related to customers, you go to the customer card, or you might run the smart list just so you can see the overall list, but they're not in the same place. They're two different activities. And in Business Central, the list, which could be replacement for the smart list, gives you additional information like balances that you can drill down into. Over here on the right, with this customer selected and the fact box open, I'll close it just so you can see what I'm talking about. I get a lot more information about my customer. Drill downable information. What's their current orders and invoices? How much business have we done with them in the past? Are they over their credit limit? Do they have any past due invoices? All of that really ready right at your fingertips without having to do a lot of navigating between multiple windows. The other couple things, if you go to, which is nice about these list pages, is if you go to reports, that you'll generally find reports that are, that fit what you're interested in without having to search all over for reports. These are reports that, are related to customers. So you might want to just hop into one of those. And I'm just going to grab one just so you can see the report options. Let me just do let's do issues. Let's pick. Here, let's pick statistics. So, here, how about this one? Top 10 list. All right. And the reason I wanted to come in here mostly was just to show you this then too. So you can see, as I mentioned in the slides, you can go to PDF, Microsoft Word, Excel, all of those without any of the pain that you have when you try to do that in Dynamics GP. All right, one other thing, and then we'll go off to Outlook. I'm going to take this report, and I'm going to edit it in Excel. And if you recall, I just told you that when you do that, you have a connection between Business Central and Excel. And I want you to notice that this phone number for Robert Towns is all 9. I'm going to go into edit it in Excel. And there it is down here. I just need to open. And at this point, it's authenticating my Office 365 account. And as soon as it does that, it's going to pop up the report. And again, I could just save this and refresh it, open it from the save location and refresh it. But I'm going to do something even that you can't do in Dynamics GP. And of course, we can secure this. So I'm going to go ahead and make a change to this customer card and give them a new phone number. Oops, one too many eights. And I'm going to publish that back up to Business Central. And let me just refresh the page. I could have opened the customer card too. And now you'll see, just like that, right back into Business Central, the phone number has been updated. Okay, so let's go back to the home page. I'll show you one thing here. All right, I'm going to go into Outlook here and respond to an email from a customer that requested a sales quote. So right now I have 2 sales quotes. I'm going to hop into Outlook. I'm going to go to my inbox here. So this is my Office 365 account, and I also added to Outlook the customer email account so that when I reply back, you can see the email coming in. But Megan sent an email, and she asked for a quote for 5 Athens desks and 5 Mexico swivel chairs. So right from Business Central, I can create a quote and email that to her and have it pushed back up to Business Central with just a couple clicks. So I'm going to first click on Contact Insights. And Megan is a contact in Business Central for ADATM Corporation. And because her email is in that contact list, Business Central already knows this is the customer that I want to do this quote for. So you saw this earlier. This is that kind of data-rich back box about the customer. So I, as the person that's going to create this quote, can quickly determine if they're a customer that I want to send a quote to. So once I'm sure that this is a good deal, I'm going to go ahead and click on Sales Quote. I can do orders, invoices, all kinds of other things. And because Business Central recognized the item descriptions and saw the quantities in the email, it was able to suggest to me what I want to order. So I just need to mark that I want to go ahead and put those items on the quote, accept that, and then it pops me over to the header record. I'm going to make a quick change here. Megan is the contact that sent me the email, so I want her name on the quote. Robert is the default contact. And then I could make any other changes to the header based on, whatever information. I could put a quick little note in there. And next thing I need to do is get that information over to Megan. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Send by Email. All right, there's my email all ready to go. It's got embedded in the message some information about the quote, and it's also attaching the quote. I'll show you that when we go into Megan's email. So I just sent that off to her in a matter of minutes. And let's go check her inbox. And there it is. There's my quote that I sent to her. And I'll give you a peek at the form. So this is the quote that was attached. It's an idea of what out-of-the-box sales quote form looks like in Business Central. Make note, this is order 1010. And that quickly I was able to respond. So now let's go back to Business Central. We should have 3 quotes, and we do. Let me just drill back into the quotes. And there's quote 1010 from Megan Bowen for 5 Athens desks and 5 swivel chairs, black. So I hope that this gave you a little tease of what Business Central looks like and gave you some understanding about how it assists people with making all decisions about their business with lots of intelligence built right into the application. So with that, I think we could open up to questions.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Linda. Would you mind? Yeah, I was going to say, would you mind putting up the slideshow?
That's what I'm looking for. Right.
No, you're good. If anybody has any questions, feel free to type them in. I did get a few. Someone asked, our GP 2016 is linked to a student management system. Would the cloud version be able to link to that system as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main answer there is it's, keep in mind it isn't a cloud version of GP, so it'd just be something we'd have to check.
Okay.
Yeah, I briefly mentioned this is more or less based on Dynamics Nav, or what used to be named Navision, and so it's more in line with that product than it is anything else. So I see the question and the response there. We'll definitely do some digging and find out for you.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. And then something else, I guess, on the topic of cloud that I got was, can you explain a little bit more of the security with cloud? I think some people have concerns about how secure is the cloud, really.
Sure. So I'll take that one, Linda, if you don't mind. And if I miss anything, you're welcome to chime in. The way I usually look at it is, first of all, if your computer is connected to the internet, if your phone is connected to the internet, there is the ability for it to be hacked. There was an instance way back several months ago of someone hacking all these internet over things, thermostats, like the Nest thermostats and things like that, hacking those and finding a way to get into home networks and get into computers. So it's quite literally, if you're plugged into the internet, you've got the ability to be hacked. So it's a fact of life. Now, you've got the ability, but the companies that are dependent upon the internet, like these cloud service providers, the LinkedIn's, the Microsofts, the Sage companies, things like that, realize that, and they spend millions and millions and millions of dollars every single year on security, physical security at data centers with armed guards, biometric scanners to be allowed into certain places, all the way down to replacing the hardware at its half-life instead of waiting as long as they can in order to make sure that they've got support on it. So the general response there is they spend millions upon millions of dollars every year to make sure that they've got the best security that they can get, because they know that this is their lifeline. And if there is any kind of major issue, then a lot of people are going to be much less likely to trust them again and come back to them again. So they know how bad that would be for their business, so they're very much proactive about their security.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And then one that came in earlier that you might have answered was just, is Great Plains going away? And I think you reiterated that, the whole 10 more years of support and stuff like that.
Right. I mean, I think we're at a point right now where it's not going away, but it's fading. The simple matter of fact is that everything comes to an end at some point, right? And whether it's 10 years from now with Great Plains, 20 years from now with Great Plains, 30 years from now with Great Plains, we don't know. But with each release of Great Plains, Microsoft does provide 5 years of standard support, and they provide 5 additional years of extended support. The difference being standard support will help you with most anything, or give you the ability to get help for most anything. Extended support will give you the ability to get help with any major disasters, right? So you've got time. It's not something you have to do right now, but again, with the digital proliferation, with the onset of the cloud, I think that it's a matter of time, and that could be 10 or 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Philip. I don't see any other questions that came in. Linda, can you skip to the next slide just for contact information? I guess next steps for everybody. We will be following up with you guys. Again, there is that survey before you exit out, and it will ask if you want to, get some more one-on-one information. So if you are interested, make sure to, answer yes, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. But if you go back and view the recording, view the deck, and have some questions that you want answered, feel free to reach out to Philip, Linda, ERP support at DDAF Tech. We're here for you guys. So I think Linda, Philip, we're good. I don't see any questions. And I hope everybody else enjoys the rest of their week, has a good weekend, and again, stay safe, everyone.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Bye-bye,
guys. Bye.
Bye.